Okay, we continue on Reishis Chochma. It's going through all the different meanings behind the idea that the Rebbe Shalom is called Gadol. So I'm not going to recap what we've done so far. Go to yesterday's video, Reishis Chochma part 12. We're just going to pick up where we left off. Um, Now, also that God also refers to extension. Because something that's big has greater extension, that the Rebbe Shalom's divine light extends through all the creations. Now, this is simple. So, first of all, God Almighty Himself, shines through the Esther spheres of Atzilus, as we know. He's putting emphasis on Esther spheres to Atzilus. Because in Atzilus it's called Iu v'Garmo Ichad. Over there, it's called that. It's God's light is so strong there that even the kalim of the spheres, the kalim that give the spheres their definition and their limit, because Chesed's not Gvura, Gvura is not Chesed. Even those kalim that give a Gvul, to God's light, that should only appear as Chesed, only appear as Gvura. Even they are, even they are Elokus. It's Yuv Garmo Ichad. They're so illuminated as if they are divine. They're not God, but they're very high spiritual level. Of course, he wants us to be referred to that God Himself is shining. The Esther Satzilus. The Esther Satzilus make the whole world as we know it. And of course, the greatness of God's mercy. For God is the source of all mercy, with the light of the face of the King, which is God's divine light that He sends us. Chaim, that is life itself. Now, so now if, by the very, very first thing emanated, which for us, from our perspective, that, that would be Kesser, right. The very first sphere, which is Ratzon, that midah is also called Rachamim Gedolim. It's called tremendous Rachamim. The first sphere. It's Rachamim Dom. Matter of fact, the Yud Gimel midas Rachamim are called Yud Gimel Tikkun Kesser. They're like details of the midah of Kesser. And so, if over there's like no dinim, it's just pure Rachamim, and that's in the highest thing, Kavachomer, God Himself, right? Who we don't talk about. It's all Rachamim, no dinim. Being it's Yuva Mashar Parshas Reishis being Nasa Adam V'zel Shalom B'Kitzur. Now to also say that another idea that's implicit in the idea of Gadol that we say about the Ribbon Shalom, right, our master, right. So is also that he has great planner. Big planner. He has big plans, right? So this could be much over Reishis. This could be well understood, with Zor and Parshas Reishis, being Nasa Adam over there at the Pasuk Nasa Adam Zel Shem. This is the lashon of Zor, summarized. Right, the sea. At the end of Parshas it says, "See, it's me. I am Him. I am Him." What's this? What does it mean? Because I am Him. That is the the cause of all causes. Not I'm calling who did create us, the one who's called cause of all causes. The one who's above all. Elos being the Elos, right? I am above all these other causes. The lo yabed chad me'ilan, that none of these causes. Elo shumuv daratos melody ale, that the causes don't do anything until they get permission from He who is above them. Quote ukma le'ela, and just like it's as we say also even in heaven, nase adam, let us make man. Nase vadai. Right. Let us make man. It's plural. I'll train Itmar, saying it regarding two forces. Damar Dola, who that one cause says the cause that's above him, Naaseh, let us make man. Voda Elamine, law about midam, and the one who's even above him won't do a thing. I'd not until it asks someone the cause above it. Yeah, can we do this? Avoda Kreilas cause, but he was called the cause above all causes. Less Elamine, there's nothing above him. Less the Tata Shavele, and there's nothing beneath him that's his equal. Kamata Amar, as the pasuk says in Yeshaya, I'll meet Tidam, who can compare me to, and I'll come out equal. So regarding Amar, regarding all this, it says so. The causes, even lower causes, have to get reshus from the cause above them, which has to get reshus from the cause above, which has to ultimately it all goes back to God Himself. So, which means nothing happens. All the different causations, all the different causality is that a word? Right? Not God is the source of it all. Not all the different causes and effects. The Rebbe is manipulating it all because at the end it all goes back to Him. Because nothing does anything before clears it with the cause above it, which until it clears it with God. So Omar, regarding this, it says, Ru atakiani ani hu vein Elohimi madi. I am He, and there is no other God, Lord, with me. Now, I mean, I run the show alone. They're not the ultimate that there's no other God with me that any cause would have to ask permission or get programming from. I'm the one. So all the causality that there is in the Bria, which is basically the plan for destiny, all the cause and effect. Ultimately, it's all God who orchestrates all, because no cause can do anything before it gets cleared from the cause above it. It gets cleared from God. So the Rebbe singularly runs everything. Right, but okay, so now we're in the next Sif, Yud Zayin. The Talmud Sechah is called Yud Kei Vav Kei, Yosef Misharta. Now the fact that, Godol, right, is more related to the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, more than the other name. It's like Elokim, right? And it's something which I think I may have mentioned yesterday. The name Yud Kei Vav Kei is the source for all the other names. That's called the name. That's parallel to all the Esther spheres, and all the other names which are connected particular spheres are considered to be derivatives. They're all called kinuyim, as a word, for lack of a better word, nicknames relative to the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Parshas Mishpatim, and this is clarified in Zohar and Saba. There was a part for a Saba monologue in Parshas Mishpatim, so it's called the Saba. Vod Batikunim, and also the Tikunei Zohar, Tikun Zayin, but at the end, this words are Yoser. Right, it's over there. It's clarified very much. Yud Kei Vav Kei is like the name that's parallel to the essence of the Hashgacha. All the Esther spheres and all the other divine names are like branches, because they're distinct midas. Kel, Chesed, Elokim, Din, right? Tzvakos, Netzach and Hod. Shakai, Yesod, Adnos, Malchus. Right. So over there also, and then I believe it's coined from the Tikkunei Zohar, is like there's actually something that's very, very that clarifies very well that I just must, copy it over here for our discourse. That's we said so many times. I can't overstate how one of the many things that make this sefer so special at a time like this, where we have to do tshuva and we have to acquire more Yerushalayim, and all thing it makes so is that this sefer is so heavily based on Zohar. Learning the sefer is almost synonymous with learning Zohar, which we need at this time. Shebein Yivkun Migalusa Barachamin. So to copy over from the Zohar, that is necessary for our discourse. Elishono, this is what the Zohar said. Let's machad lo shkach b'shem Yud Kei Vav Kei. Now every angel has somehow encoded it, the name encoded within it, the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, somehow, some way. The Shtaka Kol Asar. You know why? Because the name Yud Kei Vav Kei is everywhere. It's like the essence of the Hashgacha. There's the essence, there's the details, but of course, where the details are, the essence is also, right? So your name Yud Kei Vav Kei is everywhere. right? It's like it's like your neshama. Your neshama, yeah. So it might be more manifest in your heart or in your brain or in your lungs, which we call in halacha aver shaneshama tluyabo, because if that organ goes, the neshama packs out. But your neshama is also in every organ and organ. It's everywhere. So also the name of Kavir is like the neshama of the hashgacha, right? We'll begin the and because of this, in all the spheres, even those spheres, each one has its own divine name. That is, it's parallel, because God is revealing Himself by this name when He acts in this way. The spheres are God's actions. And we invoked yesterday the Medrash Parshas Va'era, Lefi Masai and Inikra. I'm called by my actions. When I do din, I'm called Elokim. So the sphere of Gvura has the name Elokim, right? And so when God acts Begvura, we call Him Elokim. Or when we want Him to act Begvura, to let stinking Hamas get their butts kicked, right? You hear that, Rashida, right? And all the other squad anti-Semite. Yeah. I can't say. Yeah. Anyway, so we want, to invoke the din, right? Belokim na'asechayil vu yavus tzarenu. Amen. Kenny Rodson. Right. So when he call him that, that's the sphere of Gvura. He's called the name Elkim. But since the name Yudke was the essence of the Hashgacha, that's like the Neshama Hashgacha, that's in all the spheres. So that's why we have to acknowledge the name Yudke Vavke within all the spheres, even though that sphere may have its designated divine name parallel to it. So you have to also designate, coordinate Yud Kei Vav Kei in all the spheres. This, it's like the essence, like you have to acknowledge your neshama is in your arm also, and your neshama is in your leg also. Your neshama is not only in your heart and your brain and your lungs, right? Whole Karsan, all the different levels of Kisei HaKavod, there's something parallel to the Kisei HaKavod everywhere. You go to Kisei HaKavod per se is Olam Abriya. There's something parallel to it in every world and world. And all the angels, and also in every organ of the human being, right? Because the name Yud Kei Vav Kei is everywhere. Less asar panui midei. There's no place which the name Yud Kei Vav Kei isn't. Lo be'lamatar, not in above and not below. Havaya Eloid Kre Bichuda the Arba Eson Ella Beila Seilos the Miyachalon. Now the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, right? That's called, a perfect unity. That's because of how it relates to God, or with the power of God, because Yud Kei Vav Kei, these four letters represent all the Esther spheres, right? And now they say that all the Esther spheres are not really 10 different things. In essence, they're all one. It just appear to us as 10 different things, and that's what the koach of the koach of the infinite that permeates them all. That they're all one. That these four letters are all one with the power of the He who is the cause of all causes permeating them. The miyachlon, that's what unites them. We begin to miyached arbas, and since God is the one who unites these four letters, ikra yud kei vav yichodah. That's what makes them, yud kei vav kei in one perfect unity, and that's havaya echad ushmo echad. Right, and that's God is one and His name is one. So Havaya referring to the Baal Hashem, and even the name is one. Even the name is one. Even the name is one. Right, that there's a perfect unity in all the Esther spheres. We'll begin Shavim Emrusa Yisrael Bava. So that's why the Emunah of Am Yisrael is in these four letters. Right. Meaning Am Yisrael clings directly to the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, and that's why we have the faith, the pure faith of the unity of God, because the shame that's mamash connected the unity of God, the infinite indivisibility, the infinite indivisible energy of God that permeates all. Right, and things looking separate are just an illusion. Things looking, midas of Hashem, looking separate is only an illusion. We believe in essence it's all one. In essence it's all one. It's all the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. There's one unified, infinite power of emanation that Hashem is sending the world. Just like God is indivisible, even His energy is indivisible. in essence. Just it's by our perception that breaks up into different midas, and only Amiso clings to that truth of the pure oneness and indivisibility of God. Mikam choiso goy echad barz ata echad shimcha echad mikam choiso goy echad barz. We are the one nation that clings to Hashem echad u'shmo echad. We're rooted there. The other nations are rooted in the illusion of the separate branches. That's why they're all separate. They're divided, and since they're not connected to the essence, that's why they are dispensable, like the squad. Yeah. Anyways, and all the other divine names are just, even though they're divine names, and we have to treat them, with respect, and we're not allowed to erase them, but they are all like nicknames to this name. This is the name, and they're all like nicknames relative to it. Leshma ad ein sof ein tachlis. There is no other divine name until the infinite. He who is infinite without end. Rasha Mindot, that's bigger than this name of Yud Kei Vav Kei. And now what we mean by Leila ad up ad ein sof, latata ein tachlis, and below until the point of that there's no end point. So ein sof, it's talking about infinitely up, ein tachlis, no end point, infinitely down, doesn't stop anywhere. And all the heavenly multitudes and camps are just shudder at the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. These are the words of the Zohar. Hey, but first, so we see openly for Zoshkos, so I feel shame Ekeh. So even the name Ekeh, that's parallel to Kesser per se, even that is a nickname relative to the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Moshe Amar, as the Zohar said in the Zohar we just quoted. Kol Shema Shavi Kinu Shema, all the other divine names are like nicknames to this name, which is the name, right? Because, like I said, Yud Kei Vav Kei is parallel to everything, all the midas. Ekeh is for Kesser per se, even though Kesser is the highest midah, as it were, the first midah projected. And we spoke about this yesterday, but still, that's name Ekeh is only for Kesser. Havaya is just the pure essence of the Ashgacha. That's, it's like the neshama of the Ashgacha that permeates everything everywhere. And also the Zohar, didn't the Zohar say openly in what we just read, Leshma Rava Shalta bin Da, there's no name that's bigger or has more control than this one. And so you see that the Zohar attributes greatness and reign, singular reign, governance to the name Yud Kei Vav Kei more than all the other all the other divine names. Now, with this, we go back to the pasuk that we mentioned, in the previous video. Right, Gadol Havaya Umomad. Great is Yud Kei Vav Kei and very praised. We opened up with Yirtza. So what the pasuk means to say is Gadol Havaya. His greatness is in all the ways that we enumerated. Shem Mitzar Chasto. That and all those great things all go back to God's infinite kindness, His big kindness. Umula ma'od, and He is very praised. That deals with mula ma'od, over the top. Very praised refers to the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. But it's Karman, and we're going to further explain this later. Keep a shame Yud Kei Vav Kei Nimtza Rivu Kolam. It's called the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. You have, it brought forth existence and created everything. Elyonim v'tachtonim, above and below. Therefore, everything has to praise the name Yud Kei Vav Kei as it understands it. As it understands the power of Yud Kei Vav Kei that extended in him to give him existence. Because we, the earth dwellers below, will praise the name Yud Kei Vav Kei in accordance with our limited understanding. Because we're in the lowest world of Olam Ha'asiyah, there are infinite worlds, but And even in Olam Hazeh, there are infinite worlds, more than the eye can see, more than science can measure. It's infinite dimensions, from our perspective anyway, infinite. But the central operating system of Olam Hazeh, when I even talk about Olam Haba, which is above all this, central operating, and seriously, it's only the central operating system. It's like branch branching off this central operating. It was infinite dimensions, even in this world, even in the world that we're currently in. A lot more. It's a lot bigger than science could ever measure. But the central operating system is four olamas: Atzilus, Bria, Yitzira, Asiya, and that's the central operating column of Olam Hazeh. Olam Haba is even beyond that, right? Separate column of which on it is hanging infinite other dimensions. So now, but we're rock bottom in Asiya. There's no one beneath us. All right, so we in Olam Asiya, which is the Olam Gashmi, is the physical world, and within Asiya, there's different levels of Gashmis, right? Olam Galgash, we have the world of the the Galgalim, or the discs, like we mentioned a few times. The Ptolemean model of astronomy, that the stars are embedded in discs. Shedakya, which is even more refined. Yal Yoser, and they also, from world to world, everyone praises God, praise God, but praises the name Yud K Vav K to the extent of their understanding. Anyone's closest close to the king. Anyone's close to the king, better knows his greatness and the power of his ability. The general principle is everyone, to the extent of the coarseness of his physicality, that was sealed with the name Yud Kei Vav, because everything as is was sealed with the name Yud Kei Vav. That is the name, the ultimate name that permeates everything. Kei so was sealed into this state of coarse physicality. That's going to be the extent that it knows, parallel to the level of its existence. But to the extent that you purify your physicality, you increase your understanding of the divine. And that is umuhulam. With this, we understand what it means, umuhulam, and very praised. Very praised. Because, like we said a second ago, there's like more universes than we can count. When we speak about four olamas, just about the central operating system, which, by the way, the four olamas are connected to the names Yud, the letters Yud K Vav K, right, which we're not going to explain right now. That's why it's called the central operating system. Like the name Yud K Vav K is the central divine name that permeates everything, including the other divine names. Right. So now we are very praised because there's infinite worlds, and everyone on their own level. If it's on a high level, praise more; if the lower, praise is less. But it keeps on going, It's going to be a lot of praise from each world giving its praise that's on par with its understanding of the greatness of God. But there's there's really more worlds that anyone could count, and Hashem is praised by each one to the extent of the knowledge of God available on that level. And that's Mode, right? So it's going to be many different types of praises, infinite amount of praises, each world in its own unique way, its level of understanding of God. But the pasuk goes on, but to God's greatness, there is no way to research it, right? Listen, of course, Gdulaso is, you could say, it's talking about the Gdula of the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. God Himself, we never speak about in Kabbalah, as we've said many times. That's like the biggest lie. There's so many big lies. It's hard to count the biggest lie that there ever was. There's so many things, tied for first place, right? That Hasidus was a folksy movement and not for Mitsuyanim. That's one big lie that we constantly cry out. That there's such a thing as a Pashtuya, that's also one of the top lies, also tied for first place, the biggest lie there ever was. And another big lie, biggest light ever was, also tied for first place, is that Kabbalah, Kabbalah, makes God seem physical, and it's just nothing it could be further to. It's just the opposite. God Himself is never discussed in Kabbalah. It's the science of discussing the divine names, the divine actions, not God Himself. It's just it's the other way around. Pshat could, God forbid, be Megashim if it's not handled very carefully. Like the Rambam says, handle all the terms of God in the negative if you think it's turning to God. Kabbalah never talks about God, it talks about the divine name. But even the divine name, the Bechina of the name itself, Yud K, Vav K, conscious Pasha goes on, even prior, its innate level before its greatness extended to the lower creations. You can't research it. Meaning we know things about the name Yud K, Vav K, mitzad, its connection to us. So we know the connection. We're talking about the thing itself. Yud Kei Vav Kei. Not even talking about God Himself. God Himself we never talk about. Right? But the name, right? The name itself, not mitzad its relationship to us, but it itself is ein lo cheker. Right? So, but when the name Yud Kei Vav Kei spread, everyone will praise in accordance with their understanding of researching God's greatness. God's greatness is the greatness that was revealed to us. Everyone had their own revelation of God's greatness, like we see Him through the laws of nature, which are awesome, right? We just have to extricate science from the leftist universities. We have to liberate it. My Rebbe, Yaakov Weinberg, told me that the Mekubalim themselves say the fact that the Goyim might be bigger scientists than us is Shchinta Begalus. It's called the divine presence in exile. Science is God's revelation. We have to extricate the sciences from the citadels of heresy that have stolen it and have pirated it. Shchinta Begalusa, the Shchina, the sciences in Golis, in the leftist universities, the pro-Hamas leftist gay universities. We gotta get it out of there, and that's what made it take Mashiach himself. All right. So now, this world we know God by the laws of nature and the miracles that He does for us, and the Torah that He gave us, and everyone understands by whatever revelation they had, something about the grace of God, but the essence of the divine name itself, no one knows. There's a lot more things to say, but we are not to excited. But we want to stay within the confines of the drush of what we need to know to have Yiras Shamayim. Okay, we will stop here for today. This was a lot. There's a lot to unpack. Review this, and we will continue later. Be'ezras Hashem.